All right, welcome back. If you haven't already, take a peek at my top 5 picks YouTube channels for YouTube for 2020. One thing I didn't mention are podcasts. When I do have time, I try to listen to at least a few of the podcasts. Some of my favorite podcasts are Star Talk with the scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson. This one has been on a while. Rumble with Academy Award-winning filmmaker Michael Moore. A new one called Trafficked with investigative reporter Mariana Van Zeller. This is also on National Geographic TV. It's brand new. It's fairly intense, somewhat graphic, so be warned about that. It's a fascinating journey into alternate lifestyles. I'll just put it to you that way. And finally, one of my favorite tech podcasts would be Ubuntu Podcast from ubuntupodcast.org, featuring the two brains of Ubuntu. That would be Alan Popey from Ubuntu and Martin Wimpy from Ubuntu Mate. Of course, Ubuntu Mate is currently my Linux gold standard, at least for beginners. So it's been a while, so why don't we take a listen to the latest Ubuntu podcast.
The two amigos. Sorry, I'm thinking of computers again. Alan and Martin. Hello, fellas.
Hello. I'm glad you said hello. I wasn't sure who should say hello first. Hello as well.
We should have done it together in sync. The two amigas, remember?
3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Greetings.
Alan sucks.
That was terrible. That was terrible. Right, Martin.
Yes.
What have you been doing with yourself of recent?
Well, now I have a fully functioning computer again, what can do streaming. I have been doing Linuxy streaming related things on that there YouTube.
Oh, what have you been streaming this time?
Well, so the Ubuntu Mate team had a team meeting a couple of weeks ago, and one of the outcomes of that is there are members of the team that want to start contributing in sort of a package maintenance and updating packages capacity, and they're kind of new to that. So they asked for me to cover off like some of the introductory level stuff for updating deb packages. Mm-hmm. So I did a relatively short stream on that. And then I did a really long
3 hours later.
I did a really long stream, which we'll get to later. And then the other stream I did was I've got, if I may be so bold, I've got quite good at OBS Studio, or at least I've learned a few things about OBS Studio. And there's a bunch of people been asking me to sort of, share that information. So I did a stream where I basically demoed like what my OBS Studio setup looks like and how it works.
So were you using OBS Studio to stream your OBS Studio setup?
Yes, so this was the sort of hidden gem here. I was doing OBS Inception. I was using OBS to demo OBS.
And if someone wanted to know if you wanted to live stream OBS using OBS and someone wanted to know how you would do that, would you do a live stream using OBS within OBS within OBS in order to show how you would have done the live stream that you did?
I think I can do 3. I think I can go many levels deep. I think I can, what is it in Inception? They go like 4 or 5 levels deep. I think I can reproduce that with many OBSs.
Excellent. Alan, what have you been up to?
I have been on the popular website Ask Ubuntu.
Oh,
I've found myself every so often having 5 minutes to spare here and there, and I thought I'd have a bit of a go back to my roots where I very first started contributing to Ubuntu, which was answering support questions. And I thought I'd go back to Ask Ubuntu and, give back to people who are asking questions now. And some of it was just looking for questions that don't have answers and trying to provide an answer, or leaving a comment asking for more detail, or just upvoting good answers and downvoting the not so good answers. Just the general stuff you do on a Stack Exchange site. It's quite a nice way to pass time and give something back.
So it's been a while since you've really sort of focused on that, right? Because you started your Ubuntu adventure doing that. Have you noticed if the nature of the questions are different now to what they were when you were doing it back in, like, well, I suppose, 9 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, they're harder. Well, it's more than that. It was like back in like 2006. I started doing that, 2006,
Right.
2007, something like that. Yeah, there's some weird esoteric stuff that I don't touch. And so I've got no idea how to answer that question. But that's the wonderful world of open source. You know, you've got an Ubuntu desktop, but then you can run all kinds of stuff on top of it. And people are asking questions not just about, you know, how do I get my wireless working, or, you know, my system crashes, what do I do? But they're asking, you know, how do I create a shell script that does this thing? Or, you know, I've half created this thing, how do I finish it off, kind of stuff. It is super fascinating. And the thing that I discovered was that you can create saved filters. So it's easy to search for stuff and search for tags, that questions get tagged, and search for unanswered questions. But you can actually save that as a filter so that when you come back to the site, you can just press one button and I can see all of the unanswered questions. And I think those are the ripe ones that I aim for, simply because there is someone out there who has a problem and nobody has yet answered their question or offered any kind of help at all. And so I feel those are the ones that I always want to take a look at first, because someone's clearly got a problem. And often you go there and it's minutes ago that someone asked the question. It's not something that's sat there for days and days and days and has no answer. People will often comment and answer, but it's interesting to highlight the popularity of Ubuntu is how fast, thick and fast, these questions are coming in from people needing help.
So you're advocating for answering the fresh, unanswered questions as opposed to providing a better answer to an already answered question.
It's all good stuff. I mean, if you want to browse the ones that are currently hot and have a bunch of contentious answers, and you want to help clarify the best one or tidy up the answers because someone's just bashed out a quick answer and you want to tidy it up, you could do that as well. There's so many ways in which to get involved in Ask Ubuntu. I love it. It's quite therapeutic, and like I said, it's a good way to give back to people. And so I've just spent a little bit of time doing that.
Okay, so that is just a brief listen, a brief taste of what you can get from the Ubuntu podcast.org. It's always fun listening to those fine gentlemen from across the pond in the UK, as it were. Of course, we all know what the UK stands for, right? The Ubuntu Kingdom. Duh. So, cheers to the two brains at Ubuntu. And I have a small tech emergency here at the house. I am completely out of wine, so I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to go to my local supermarket, buy some wine and some snaps. That's all I have for this one. I'll have a link for this Ubuntu podcast.org below in the show notes. Check it out if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'll start my own podcast, the Ubuntu Wine Podcast, or something like that. It's just a thought. Anyway, I'll catch you next time.